Welcome home, everyone. Thank you for joining in on this episode of Welcome Home with the Katinas. Welcome Home is a podcast where I, your host Josh, sit down for a conversation with different people who I admire and discuss whatever's on their mind, and especially focus on life at home in times like this. Wherever you are and however you're listening, thank you for your support, and once again, welcome home. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining in on this week's episode of Welcome Home with the Katinas. I want to start off by thanking everyone who supports this show by listening, by watching on YouTube, and thanking everyone who supports Katina Ministry through prayer, financially, through fellowship. We appreciate all of you guys, and we're so thankful that we have such a special, tight-knit community of people like you that we get to share our lives with and live our lives with. And so I want to let you know that if this podcast may be the only thing you see from Katina Ministries, we do a lot more. And so if you'd like to find out about that, the best way to do that is to visit thekatinas.com, and you'll see more information about who the Katinas are, what our ministry does, and we'd be excited to hear from you. So that's that. And I want to welcome my Uncle John, Uncle James, Uncle Jesse, and my dad. It's good to see you guys. It's been a while. I was out of the country all last week, and I know you guys were on the road, so it's been a while since I've seen you guys. It's good to be back in the same room with you here in Franklin. Want to ask you guys, just to start off, how was... Give me and the cousins an update. How was this last week on the road for you guys?
Man, thank you, Josh. It's good to see you. I like your tan from Carmen de Playa, wherever you were, Tulum.
Yeah, we were up at the North Pole.
You like to stay in the shade. Yeah. I could see that. But no, I think any time we get to be on the road for an extended amount of time is it's different these days because we don't do that a lot. We are what they call weekend warriors. We leave on Friday, come back on Sunday or Monday. So we were gone for 10 days. It's a little longer than I would say we would love to do, but it's thankfully it's not a frequent thing where we leave our families for that long. But, man, it was kind of a mixture of doing shows, some led worship at some churches, did some full hymns and stories shows. By the way, that hymns and stories show has really been, I believe, being received well by the people who come to listen. And it's basically from the record, the hymns, which is out there wherever you stream music. You can find 5 of the tracks from the hymns record. So we did some hymns and stories. We got to do a retreat for a Christian school, Turlock Christian.
Nice.
Shout out Turlock Christian. Mm-hmm. Some great kids out there. And then we got to do work on just finishing touches of our documentary, The Katinas, Love God, Love People. So it was a variety of things, but it was good. We got to accomplish a lot.
Yes. I think the emphasis for me was racking up frequent miles.
I've heard the stories.
Oh, man. It was obviously unexpected. It was, like John said, a 10-day run. So the beginning of the run, we're getting ready. It was a Sunday morning, and we're getting ready to lead worship. And this is crazy. I'm in the lobby, and I see all the guys, the brothers, and your dad is like, man, I'm so sorry. What happened? Is Chrissy going to be okay? And I'm like, I don't even know what my
James,
look was.
I'm really sorry about that, too.
So I'm like, oh, no. So I immediately call, and she doesn't pick up, so I call my mother-in-law. And so basically, without going into all the details, Chrissy, Auntie Chrissy, on that early morning, 3-4 o'clock Sunday morning, she drives herself to the ER, right? Because she's in this excruciating pain and doesn't know where it's coming from, but just like, nah, this is not, a couple days prior, she thought it was maybe a pinched nerve. It wasn't a pinched nerve. And so all that to say, she ended up being in the hospital for 3 days. So we're out doing it. We're leading worship on Sunday morning. We do a show that night, and then I catch a red eye back home. And I was thankfully, thanks to my brothers for making it happen, I was home with Chrissy in the hospital for the next 2 days. Fly back to meet the guys on Wednesday. We do a couple shows. And then John and I, we catch an early morning flight on Friday. We come back because it was the beginning of football season here in Franklin. So
Hardcore,
that was awesome.
Big fans
shout out
right
Cougars.
here.
Hardcore.
And my daughter Haley is she's in her senior year. She's a cheerleader. And by the way, so with everything that was happening with Chrissy, people hear us and see us engage in just our own, what we call the cousins community. And I got to tell you guys, I saw community just in full display. Something unexpected, So my wife, and she's such a warrior. She's going through what she's going through. And just like that, the community just comes around, and it's amazing. And Chrissy and I actually were just talking about, can you imagine people who, if they were in Chrissy's situation, that don't have family or don't have a friend?
Yeah.
I'm saying a friend. And I don't know for sure, but I think there were a few people down the hallway, because I'm observant. I never saw, other than the nurses, anyone darken the other rooms. Wow. And it just really made me humbled, but just so grateful that my sister-in-laws, they just jumped in and said, okay, we're going to provide meals for these next few days. Chrissy's colleagues at work, they all were sending stuff. And then all of the cheerleader moms. Like right now, 2 weeks removed, we still have meals lined up. And just all of this, just the generosity and just the serving hearts. And, while we talk about it and we're advocates of it, when you see it in full display, it just hits you so powerfully. And so shout out to all of the community. You know who you are, too many to name, but that's been our 10 days.
Yeah. Man, James, I'm glad Chrissy is well. If you were tuned into the last podcast, Josh, I've been busy just working on my guitar chops, man.
How's that going?
Are you willing to bring that up?
How's that going?
No, I'm kidding. The 10-day run for me was
Choppy.
You know how they say he got jokes, he got lies.
The 10-day run was pretty cool for me. I actually had my son out, Boston, and he traveled with us 5+ years ago. And so to have him out, a lot of things were familiar to him, and he enjoyed it, but he didn't have his road legs, man. So he was trying to get adjusted to that. Yeah. But it was awesome, man. All the concerts and the people that we got to meet. We got to go to this one organization called Jessica's House, and it's they focus on grieving families who just lost loved ones, specifically kids. So that was an awesome time to share with my son Boston. So I'm just glad we're back.
Yeah. Well, you got anything, Dad? All right. Sounds like a lot happened while I was out. So I wanted to talk today. Is April. Today's August 23rd. And this episode will come out tomorrow, which is August 24th, which a lot of Laker fans know as Kobe Bryant Day. And the 23rd, today, is actually Kobe Bryant's birthday. And so I, as a Laker fan and as a Kobe fan, I this morning I got on and I saw a post from the NBA, happy birthday, Kobe. And I remember today was his birthday. And I just thought, I know the importance that he had in my life. And on his birthday, I thought it'd be appropriate to ask you guys if you'd like to share a favorite Kobe Bryant memory.
Wow, that's awesome, Josh. I also want to say happy birthday to my daughter,
Yes.
Alexis, or Amelia. I'm sorry, Amelia. My daughter-in-law, Amelia, who is now a mom. She's, if you're listening today, August 24th, it's Amelia's birthday. Happy birthday,
birthday,
Amelia. You're an awesome wife to Eli, a beautiful mom to Josiah, and man, you're a blessing to our family. I have a lot of memories about Kobe. Josh, you and I often discuss that Kobe's life was a real connecting point for me and you. But I have a recent one that I watch off and on a lot about Kobe since he's passed away. And man, I saw this interview and I thought, man, I never saw this interview. And basically he was saying, it doesn't matter if I lose or win, which I thought was unique. I thought it was almost like counter Mamba mentality, because Mamba mentality to me was all about winning. And he said this, he said, it really doesn't matter if I lose or win. I always prepare the same. Man, that really, it just challenged me in my preparation for whatever, as a dad, as a husband, now as a grandfather, as a brother, that preparation is key. I think a lot of times we have these expectations, but we don't put in the preparation. Preparation is what can lead you to transformation. And I think with what I've been going through this last year of my life, I've been listening to more, obviously, messages, more from the Word of God, and just a lot of motivational speeches by people. And the motivational speeches, I think sometimes I think, it's all about success, but really it's not about success, it's about life. And that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. And I don't know why, maybe because I experienced or am becoming more comfortable with my failures just as much as my successes. I think that, and it's not an excuse to fail, but there is no excuse to not prepare.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's great, Joe. One of my favorite memories is being able to go to he was on his farewell season. And did we all go? I think, yeah. And my 3 older sons got to be on that trip with you and some of the other cousins or nephews and nieces. So just seeing him, I mean,
we went to Memphis.
Yeah. Memphis, his last game in Memphis. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he was on at the end of his career, but man, being able to see, and I don't think my boys understood it like they do now because they're older, like a living legend, do his thing, was awesome to experience with my boys. And when I think about Kobe and the Mamba mentality is, it's just not a word that you would use for basketball per se, but it is synonymous with winning in any sport, but in life. You hear actors, you hear other entertainers, obviously athletes refer to Mamba mentality. I think it's pretty cool that he made his mark on the world, not necessarily by putting a ball in through a hoop, but challenging people to push the limits and to be the greatest that you can be in any, walk of life.
Yeah.
Whatever you're passionate about. He definitely was one of the. He's up there with all the philosophers.
Yeah.
Mamba mentality is what that is, and definitely a huge fan. Always will be. I think he was, I think he was the GOAT, but I mean, you know, the stats show otherwise. But I think his mentality is why a lot of people would put him at the top of the mountain.
It's just to butt in on the Mamba mentality thing. One of my favorite, I guess, podcasts I ever watched was a guy by the name of Stephen A. Smith. This was a couple years after Kobe had retired, maybe a year or two after he had retired. And Stephen A. Smith opened his show. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you guys, I saw something I never, ever believed I would see. Kobe Bryant has won an Oscar." And I think it's amazing to think that people attributed that Mamba mentality. He was able to take it from basketball into something else, even after retiring. But yeah, I remember that Stephen A. Smith, he's a very dramatic and he embellishes things, but I remember that moment. I was like, wow, that is pretty crazy that an NBA player won an Oscar.
Yeah. For me, Josh, I mean, Kobe is shares something in common with my son, Boston. He's our favorite player. And, you know, since his passing, all of these things show up on social media of highlights or quotes, interviews that he's done. And I'm not sure if this is entirely true or if this is the only two meanings behind his second number of his career, 24. 24 seconds in the shot clock, 24 hours in a day. And I think he would be a good example of someone who took full advantage of time. And, you know, we don't know when our time comes. But, man, if we can have, obviously his is a little bit more pertains to the sports world. But, man, if we can take advantage of every moment that we can have great impact on people. Yeah. And he definitely lived that out.
I want to read this quote, and this is something he said in 2017. He says, "You're responsible for how people remember you. If you do it right, your game will live on in others. So leave everything on the court. Leave the game better than you found it. And when it comes time for you to leave a legend." And, you know, I think a lot of times when he was being interviewed, basketball was, and the court was his platform, but the principles that he lived by really apply to life in any other platform. You know, just being tenacious. I think one thing that, aside from his obvious talent and how great he was as a player and being on my favorite team, one of the things that I've been drawn to, and quite frankly, even after his passing, in seeing a lot of the interviews and what he was about, what he stood for, Kobe wasn't a man pleaser. And that's actually something that I've struggled with in throughout my life. Is just, you know, he was just honest. You know, he was going to do it the way he thought was the right way, whether people agreed or not. And that's something that, for me, in just dealing with one of my personal struggles, is something to aspire, man. It's like, hey, you know, you want to be great and you want to leave a legend, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Don't live your life for the applause of people or what they're going to say. That's a huge inspiration from Kobe.
Wow, those are great. I think I asked that question. I feel like it's interesting. Almost none of you guys said anything about basketball. Because I was thinking about my favorite Kobe memory, because I know I was going to ask this question. I was thinking about his last game when he scored 60 points against Utah. But I do think it is very unique for an athlete that I could ask people that, 4 different guys, and you guys almost said nothing about him playing basketball. It was more about his impact on the culture and society. And I have so many memories of Kobe, and I think I remember. I didn't actually watch the 81-point game, but I remember waking up the next day and hearing about it. I remember where I was. When he won his fifth championship against the Celtics. I remember where I was when he scored 60 in his final game. I remember all of those things. But
81 against Toronto.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that because I may have told you this. Like, I felt like after he scored 81, Uncle, literally a week later, I want to say it was at your house, I saw a Kobe Bryant bobblehead, and it said 81 points on it.
I remember that.
Yeah, you guys
I do
already
remember
had
it was a Sunday. That's what I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when I think about all those memories of watching him play basketball and watching him win and watching him lose, my favorite part is that they're always with family, always with my dad, my brother, my uncles and cousins. And I think for me, that's the thing I appreciate the most about Kobe, was that he gave me something to rally around with the people I loved. And so I'm always grateful to him he always gave his all and gave us something to cheer for, to respect, and to bond over.
Yeah.
So
I love the way he respected the game too.
yeah.
I don't know. You don't see a lot of that. Definitely don't see it like at the level that Kobe respected the game. How he would, just even in his younger years, he wasn't, even if social media was back then, I'm sure he would not be on social media. Mm-hmm. He was the kind of guy that locked himself, in the gym, and it's the results are what they are because the way he respected the game, the way he put his all into it, man. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of, I don't see that a lot in today's athletes in all sports.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Just curious. Do you guys have a favorite Kobe, like the number 8 Kobe, the first half, number 24 Kobe?
Yeah, I think for me, 24. It's hard to see the departure from Shaq. Those 3 championships, and after Shaq left, I didn't know if he was going to do it again. And I think as a Kobe fan, I was fine. I'm like, man, he's got 3 rings, and then, man, to make it to the finals, and win it 2 more times, man, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I like that question, Uncle. I actually think I would say mine's number 8 Kobe. Yeah. I think part of it's because, like, my earliest Laker memories, I was literally 5-6 years old. It was the number 8 Afro Kobe with the Kobe and Shaq teams. And I think maybe part of it has to do with my age. I feel like being younger and as a man still feeling like I have, not to say you guys don't, but I feel like there's so much I want to accomplish in life. I'm so hungry to prove myself. And I number 8 Kobe really resonates with me. Yeah. And I loved my memories of number 8 Kobe. I feel like those were years where we were always battling the Spurs and even the Kings. Like I remember the Mike Bibby and Chris Webber Kings. That I hated those teams, and Kobe, number 8 Kobe, was the guy that was killing those teams. And so
I just saw an article on Mike Bibby saying, "Man, the Sacramento Kings, we were better than the 2002 Lakers."
Say that all you want,
maybe, but I don't know. The refs thought we were better.
The number 8 Kobe that I remember was, I think it was it the conference finals against Utah?
When he shot the air ball?
Yeah. And he was clearing all the guys out
Yeah.
with 4 seconds left. We could have tied it or gone up to win, and that was like the birth of what, his legendary stats. To me, that was like the game solidified. All
There's
right.
a moment in
When
that
I come
game-
back next year, you
Yes.
guys.
There's a moment, I think it was right after as they were walking off, Shaq is like, you're our guy.
Stamp of
Keep
approval.
shooting that.
After they lost.
After they lost.
That speaks volumes when you lose.
yeah.
But the way you
Something,
lose,
yeah.
again, going back to his quote of, it doesn't matter if you lose or win, it's the preparation. How do you lose and you have all older veteran guys saying, oh, you're the man?
Yeah. They just saw it, man.
And Josh Kobe, man, he's even example, at least to me, my preference of how to conduct yourself as a athlete and as a whether it's football or baseball with social media. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but man, for someone like him who has said in interviews, man, I'm putting the time in the lab,
Yeah.
and he's an amazing example of that, man.
Last Kobe question. The Lakers recently announced that next year Kobe's going to get his statue outside of the Staples Center.
Well deserved.
Yeah. What if you guys were designing the statue? What would the pose be?
The one where he
The heart?
shows his heart. I love that
Like that
one.
one?
I've got a thought in my mind, but I don't think it should be the statue, but I'm not going to say which one it was. I think you can,
Yeah.
you know.
I think for me, because again, a lot of footage has been coming up on social media, and I'm not sure if anybody captured how many times he's picked up his daughter, Gigi, from when she was young. There's one in Starbucks. He's picking her up at a basketball, picking her up when they won the championship, picking her up. Be pretty different.
Yeah.
Was there talks about maybe Gigi being?
They
in
said
it?
she's going to be in. Her memory will be a
Immortalized?
part of the statue. So I don't know if that means she's actually. Yeah, I don't know what that means. But
Man, his fadeaway
Yeah.
that's very signature. I mean, be cool to see that too.
I have this image in my head of when they beat the Celtics for his fifth championship. I think it was. I remember Rajon Rondo kind of took a shot at the end of the game, just like a Hail Mary. He missed, and I think Lamar Odom rebounded it. And Kobe was sprinting up the floor, and Lamar just tossed it in the air, and Kobe caught the ball at the end of the other side, and he was holding his hand up.
You
To
love
me,
that.
in my mind, that was like
You
such-
love to see it in Boston.
Well, I think that was
that
in
was in
LA.
Oh.
Yeah. But
In
against
LA.
the Celtics, I don't know. That image is burned in my
My
mind.
favorite part of that finals and that game was when Ron Artest thanked his therapist. So
That's before therapists were cool.
so that game, my family was we were at Holiday World, Santa Claus, Indiana, and you remember we were down for most of the game. Going into the fourth quarter, I want to say we were down by double digits.
It
or
was
close
one of
to
the
it.
ugliest basketball games you ever watched.
So as we were starting to mount our comeback, every time we would get closer, me, Jackson, and Dylan, just think about how young we would do push-ups. All right. And Auntie Chrissy was like, "Stop, guys, we're trying to sleep her." And they get closer, we would do push-ups.
That's
It was
awesome.
was it a game
amazing.
6? That
Seven.
one?
It was
seven.
Game
yeah,
7
game
in
7.
LA.
Epic.
And
Game
I think
7.
the final score was like in the high 70s or low 80s. Like
Yeah.
no one could score. It was like and Kobe actually had
He didn't
a
have
bad
the-
game,
yeah.
a bad scoring game.
He rebounded a
He
lot.
was
though.
rebounding
He was
and passing, and he played
Yeah,
amazing
good D.
defense.
Guys, do you guys remember the championship against Orlando? We watched. Did they sweep them? No. Or they won in 5.
Yeah.
We watched Game 5 in Ladysmith, South Africa.
South
wow.
Africa at 3 in the morning. What was it?
Yeah.
3, 4 in the morning.
Somehow, I still don't know how we got this TV to.
It was like an Airbnb.
Yeah,
We
in
turned
the middle of
TV on.
nowhere.
It was like a miracle from God.
Wow.
we
Yeah,
got
that's
to
awesome.
watch. We watched. Yeah, we watched.
I remember that year I was so disappointed because that was like the best opportunity we would have ever had to see Kobe and LeBron play each other in the
Yes.
finals. And
Orlando.
the Cavs lost to Orlando, I
Yep.
think, in the conference
they did.
finals. But
Crazy.
Talking about Lamar Odom, it made me think of you guys know the World Cup of basketball is taking place, and Team USA has been doing showcases and stuff. And this, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's this funny thing on Twitter or Instagram where they were playing in a showcase against Germany, I think, recently, and Lamar Odom tweeted, excited to watch Team USA, and he showed a picture, and he's in this huge living room, nothing on the walls except a TV about this big. And everyone's clowning him. And
That's messed up.
yeah. And
What is
so
that?
after it was so bad that later that day he showed a picture. He had gone to the store and bought like a 70-inch flat screen.
What does that say about America? We're the only country we all. It's what the.
We
Oh,
are
look
so
at that
weak.
TV,
Yeah,
man!
we are so weak, man.
People were
Wrong.
clowning him for that. Well, thank you guys for talking about Kobe with me.
Yeah.
I want to. I guess this will be more of a question for you three uncles, but school is back and the kids are back in school. I wanted to ask you, just as fathers and parents, what are like when your children go to back to school again? What are the things that you maybe worry about, or what are the things that you hope for your kids for the next school year?
It's a great question. I'll just start off by saying we're in a real. It's a good season, but it's the most unique season as a family because we have a senior. Haley's a senior in high school. Riley's a freshman, and then Levi is a first grader. And with that, at least with our three kids, you have not only different schedules, but just a lot of things going on. You know, aside from the studying, you've got cheerleading, baseball practice, and we are right now, at least for the fall schedule, we have one dinner night that we're all together, right? So, and dinner, it's Tuesday night. So we had dinner night, and I think this could help me answer your question. As we're having dinner and catching up, I just got back from a 10-day run. Just listening to the girls just talk about the big topic of conversation last night was just how, you know, for one of the girls, one of their classes, it's an honors classes, and it's just really difficult in the first 2 weeks. And so there's this conversation of, man, I think I need to just go to a basic, you know, and just trying to work through that. Chrissy and I, we can see in our vision on the table, we can see each other face to face, and you know, I could tell that Chrissy is signaling me without saying anything. Hey, let the girls just talk it through, and they're kind of talking back and forth on how to approach this situation. It's a dilemma for one of the girls, and the other girl saying, "Well, hey, I can help you," you know, and and the other girl's like, "Well, no, you can't help me on this," but I share that. It just happened last night, so it's top of mind. But that's I would categorize that as this is a difficult season in that regard, but it's a healthy time to just be a family and have these conversations. We may not necessarily have the answers for each other, but we're going to be there for each other. And that's what I saw. You know, we had dinner, but the conversation was probably 2 hours of us sitting at the table. So that was great. But it was like, man, there was this tension that was being built, and we just thought, no, we're not going to leave the table until, you know, we feel like, hey, we're still a family. Whether or not we've pinpointed the resolution, we're gonna commit to just being together. If it's gonna be a struggle, we're gonna struggle together. So I just thought I'd share that in
awesome.
answering your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boston is obviously out of school, and so I'm enjoying spending time with him. Mira is trying to knock out senior and junior year together. Seems pretty difficult.
year?
This year. She's in.
So
she's
she
in-
could graduate this
Yeah,
year.
so she could graduate this
Oh,
year.
wow.
She's also working part-time at a store in the mall, Aries, and she's loving that, making money on the side. And then Sammy, every year we try to, okay, what are we going to do differently? And I think this year, man, Jessica and I have committed to just enjoy this last year of grade school for Sam, 5th grade. For example, I said, hey, Sam, every night that I'm home, we're going to pray together. And so
She really enjoys that.
well, we've done that. And I said, and every time you have homework, we're going to go over that. So yesterday was the first time she has a spelling test in 2 weeks. Man, I'm reading these words. I'm like, man, I don't know how to spell these words myself, man, but Sam's getting it. And then just trying to create different habits. I woke up this morning and, in the past I would be so just, man, let's get it done. You ready? Get off to school. What's next? This year, man, I'm making the commitment. Sammy, what do you want to do, man? You want breakfast? I'll make it. I made her a protein shake this morning and just trying to.
That's a true benefit of being the youngest.
There you go, man.
Because I don't think I'd bet Boston didn't get that.
He didn't get that. He didn't get that. So
Boston got a shake, but it wasn't a protein one.
Trial and error with all the older kids. By the time you get to the youngest,
so that's it.
Cool.
Sam,
that's cool.
she's good.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
My hopes for I've got 3 that are still in school. River just started his sophomore year at Lee University. Steele is a senior at Independence High School, and then Blaze, my youngest, is a freshman, or is a sophomore. He was a freshman last year. My hopes and my prayer for them every day is that they would just, not lose themselves in amidst a world that's constantly changing. It seems like what used to be abnormal in the media or as far as news is like every week there's something crazier and crazier that's happening, and it seems like our society is always things when it comes to our morals and stuff. Our society is it's more acceptant of everything. So my hopes for my guys is that they would just stay grounded in who they are as first believers, but even as young men, that they would find their voice in whatever it is they're involved in. Yeah. Be it being a leader, on their football team, with their community of friends. I'm really glad that those 3 guys, and even Zion and Jet, it's been awesome to see how rich and how positive their friend groups have been. That's been a blessing to know that they have at least an awareness and a discernment of sorts to make sure they're surrounded with good people.
Yeah.
Outside of their family and the people that love them the most. So it's been great to I go to their morning Steele and Blaze's morning practices.
Oh wow.
From 5 to 7, and it's just a time. Me and 2 other dads. I just always want them to know that I'm, no matter how life has changed, that I'm as present as I can be, and I think it's awesome, and it's a blessing to reciprocate that as they share their affection and their love with me.
Nice.
It's been a great journey.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I've been thinking about my younger cousins and all the young people out there starting school again, and I don't necessarily miss those days, but I do know that they can be really, really fun and really great. And so my hope is that obviously when I think of my younger cousins, I want them to do well in school and do well in sports, but also I just hope that my biggest hope is they have great memories from these years. All right, last question, and you guys can answer as short or as long as you guys want. Today's Wednesday, the 23rd. Are you guys going to be watching the debate tonight?
This is how out of touch I am. What debate? No, serious.
Tonight, okay, nobody knows?
I know.
Tonight is the first Republican presidential debate.
Primary.
Primary debate.
Yeah.
I don't have cable TV anymore.
Okay.
I canceled it, so all I watch is like some podcasts on YouTube. So I may watch, something after. I didn't know that there was a debate today. But
I'm going to watch it.
You're going to watch?
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
I'm not sure. Now that I know, I might watch it.
Okay. I'm curious. It's curious.
This is the GOP.
Yes.
Okay.
The big story, honestly, about the debate is that Donald Trump's not participating.
Maybe I won't watch it. I'm kidding.
And why is he not participating?
My understanding is he's doing really well in the primary polls, and he's basically saying, "I already won the nomination. I don't need to go to these debates."
Man, it might serve him well not to, right? I mean,
I have no
the
idea.
guy is always being scrutinized and just by being present. So maybe it's a good thing for him not to be there.
Are you going to watch it, Josh?
Yeah, I probably will.
Yeah.
I think because, well, I'll just say this, and this is my opinion. Because of Trump's decision not to participate, there's already whispers that, well, Joe Biden's not going to debate whoever wins from the Republican side, so we're not going to have debates. I feel personally like that's a loss for the country. Yeah. I think that our public servants owe it to us to present themselves to the people who elect them, and I feel like I wish Donald Trump was participating. I just feel like even if you're the president, you're still a public servant. You owe it to the American people to come out and tell us why we should vote for you. That's my personal thoughts.
Josh, I think, and this is me just being as vulnerable and maybe too vulnerable, but I don't see too many politicians who believe that they're public servants.
Yeah, I think that's a problem.
So I'll be honest, it's hard for me. I believe in America. I think there's hope in America. Oof. I don't trust our government. And I don't think, I'm not trying to push. I think I'm just being honest and vulnerable. I do every day. I pray for America, and that's not a pat on my back. It's just that we need God in America. And maybe, there might be listeners that say, well, I need to be more involved. And if that's the case, I'll listen, or I'm open to that. But I think I'm just so frustrated. So when it comes to government officials, I feel I don't find a lot of hope in what's going on.
So obviously there's no rules to, if you're a candidate, that you have to, okay.
There's not.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's no rules for anything in government.
And if there are,
Not anymore,
they don't
right?
follow them anyways.
Right.
So.
But for Donald Trump, he's had 4 years to be president. I think his policies and his views are well documented. I don't know if that's what he just feels like. I don't have anything new to what I did 4 years ago. Is if I win, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I think my guess is that it's just a strategic decision. He's already so far ahead in the polls. I don't know I feel like if he, from an objective perspective, if he did go to a debate, the only thing that could happen it could hurt him. I don't know if it could necessarily help him at all.
But everything that Trump does is so calculated.
Oh yeah, I think
Which
he knows
that's
that
actually
in
the
his team.
brilliance of him. I mean, I'm not even necessarily subscribing to his politics. I'm just saying this guy, he there's a reason why he just has this bigger than life. Because while he's not doing the debate, you know what they're promoting? His interview with Tucker.
Right.
Right. So again, it's people might be wondering, man, he should be that guy. He knows exactly what he wants to do. It's just I'm.
But
gonna
you
watch
do
the
have a
play.
red MAGA hat. I've seen you with it, and you wear it all the time.
But if he dips in the polls, we'll see.
Yeah. Honestly, if I think that's a good point, Uncle. If he falls in the polls after not being in this debate, you might see him. You'll probably see him in the next one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm gonna watch it because I've always been. There's certain parts of politics that I've always been interested in. This is one of them. Because I agree a lot with what you were saying, Joe. I mean, the system is so broken. It's hard not to trust, right? Just even the best of the best people, just because of, things that have happened over history, not just here recently. So I like to watch the debates because I love just that forum.
It's entertaining.
It's entertaining,
Yeah.
and just seeing the viewpoints. I've been recently just following some of just sound bites of Vivek Ramaswamy. Very interesting guy. I've only heard of him over the last maybe month.
Yep.
And so you've got just these different people who it fascinates me too to think, how did these people even come to the decision to run for the highest office?
Right.
It's
In this climate.
Yeah.
And I want to say too that when I say I don't find a lot of hope in the government, I mean I'm not trying to come across to our listeners like I'm right. I'm somewhat ashamed of that, and because at the same time I do believe that there are people that care a lot about the country, our country, about government, and they show their care and their passion by being involved with politics. I want to make sure that I don't want to come across like, all politicians are crooked and evil. I don't believe that. I think there's a lot of good people. We've sung at different events. We're trying to raise money for people who really want to make a difference in local schools and politics and all that. So yeah, I'm not even sure that I'm just proud of where I'm at right now. I'm indifferent, and I'm not saying that's a good place to be.
Well, and you just remind us, Joe, that it's one of the things God, commands of the church is to pray for our leaders, right? Because there's no other way to put it than there's just so much chaos, and it just aligns with Scripture. We know as believers when we start seeing what's going on, so it's not a debate necessarily. It's just like we just have to reference the Word, but the Word does say, "Hey, pray for your leaders, whether you agree with them or not, whether they are, pure in their motives or not. We just pray for them."
Mm-hmm.
That I always remember you told me years ago that a country gets the leadership it deserves. And so as this election cycle begins...
Can I say something? Yeah. I believe that. And I think some of my anger is... Now, I don't want to sound political, but where the condition of our country is in right now, which I don't think is healthy, I think part of it makes it's a reflection of me and a reflection of the apathy of the church, which I'm a part of. And maybe I just don't want to face that because I think, how in the heck did we get here? And maybe it's because the dude in the mirror is indifferent.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I think I have this weird sense of like, maybe anxiety is too strong of a word, but somewhere around there of just election coming up again because of how insane the last election year was. And I don't know. I feel like election in my time as like a voting citizen, since I turned 18, and this maybe you guys can say, well, that's just how it always is. But elections have never been a time where I was like, man, I feel great about where our country's at right now. And I just know that the stories are going to start pouring out about different candidates, and the drama of the election is going to try and suck people in. And I'm hoping that this year, as the election happens, I want what's best for the country to happen. I hope that a God-ordained leader is put into the White House and Congress and all of those things. But I also hope that I'm not brought into the tornado of politics over this next year and a half. So,
I totally get what you're saying, because I feel that churning in my stomach, that tension. To be honest, man, my hope is that we get someone who is competent, who does right by the country. It's been, and not even, I'll even be honest, not necessarily someone who's like, I think a God-fearing person would be great, but somebody who just knows how to do the work of leading government, like, just the simplest of things with the economy. I mean, we're going to be putting $4 in the, a gallon. Just some of the simplest things, just somebody who's competent is someone I'd love to see.
Do you guys know what the Babylon Bee is?
No, what is that?
It's a satirical newspaper. So they make news stories that it's all jokes. I'm trying to end on a funny note. Recently they came out with an article.
Dude, you would be a great politician.
No, but
And I would vote for you, Josh.
they came out with an article, and the headline was, "Family is sad, deciding whether to send grandfather to nursing home or have him run for Senate."
Oh my God. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. On that note, God bless America.
Love you guys. Thanks for being here. For those of you listening, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with more episodes soon. Have a great day.